Alright, we've still got a day to go, but I am getting so excited for the North London derby. There is just no game on the calendar that gets me amped up the way that this one does. So if you feel the same way, smash the like button on this video because we are about to preview the big game between Arsenal and Spurs. Everything you need to know heading into the clash tomorrow. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, Pitchside with Parker, to yet another daily video. And today we are previewing the North London derby, as I'm sure you could tell by now. But hey, if you are an Arsenal fan or if you're just a soccer fan in general, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I do daily content. I do lots of Arsenal content. And if you like videos like this, you will certainly like other stuff on my channel. I promise you that. But without further ado, let's get into this preview. It will be quite a matchup on Sunday. Tottenham are coming in as the only team right now in the Premier League who have won their last 3 games. So they are on form. They've won in the Europa League as well in their first leg tie in the round of 16, just like Arsenal did on Thursday. And it seems like they've begun to find some of that form that they had at the beginning of the season. If you remember, the first time that these two teams met, Spurs were actually top of the league, and Arsenal, let's not talk about where Arsenal were in the table. It feels like in recent games, Spurs have been starting to get back towards that form that they had at the beginning of the year. The additions of Bale and Lucas actually playing the 10, and also Dele Alli getting mixed in here and there, I think those have been really important to Spurs recently. So look, I am a little nervous as an Arsenal fan, I'll be honest, because the first time they played, Arsenal were unable to stop the deadly duo of Kane and Son, who each scored en route to the 2-0 win. And so much like the first time, the main task here is going to be shutting those two down. I know some people are saying that Harry Kane could be unfit and that did pick up that little injury on Thursday night against Zagreb, but let's be honest, we've been here before, okay? Every single year, he's questionable for the North London derby. And what happens? He's out there in the starting lineup every time, and more times than not, he ends up finding the back of the net. So I expect him to be out there, and Spurs also do have a new threat to contend with in Gareth Bale. That was not something that Arsenal saw the first time around. But at the same time, this Arsenal team is also very, very different from the first time these two teams played. And so that's the first thing that I wanted to look at and just break down what the matchups are in this game. So if you look at the Arsenal team that played Spurs the first time these teams played back in December, it looks like a completely different team. The first thing that jumped out to me looking back at this is that Lacazette was playing in the 10 in this game. If you look at the rest of the squad, there's a few players that were not involved whatsoever in this game that have become key to Arsenal. One of those is Smith Rowe. He was nowhere to be found here. He still hadn't had that breakout performance in the Premier League just yet. And also in the 10 role, of course, Arsenal did not have Martin Odegaard yet. And if you've watched the last few games, he's been very, very influential in attack for Arsenal. So I think that is yet another piece that could cause Spurs some problems that was not present in that first matchup. And having those options in the number 10 spot is very important because the way that the last game went, Arsenal did have most of the possession. You would expect it to go that way again because Spurs' game plan is very simple. Absorb the pressure, sit back on the counter, and rely on the technical brilliance of Kane and Son, and now also Bale and Lucas, and maybe Dele, maybe Bergwijn, to get you a goal on the counter. It's worked fantastically for them this season, and as we know, Arsenal have weaknesses that play right into the hands of that system. They give the ball away in bad positions. They're easily caught on the counter. They get caught out of position. And so that will, of course, be the mentality again for Spurs in this game. And so what Arsenal need is someone who can unlock that back line while they're sitting back. And they didn't have it the first time these two teams played. Another player that was completely absent from Arsenal's setup was Pepe. I don't know if he will start in this game or not. If you've seen my videos, you know that I think he should be starting. We might end up seeing Willian. I don't really know what to think there with Arteta's selection, but he is yet another player who was not even in the squad the first time around, who will probably have some role to play against Spurs. And even looking at Arsenal's bench from that first game, I mean, the likes of Willock and Maitland-Niles, who are now gone and on loan. You got Nketiah, who was one of the players who got subbed on in this game to try to change the game, although couldn't tell you the last time he's done that off the bench, but he's playing with U23s now. So when people tell you that this is gonna go like the first time they played and you know Spurs have Arsenal's number and there's a script that's gonna play out in this game, I'm sorry, but this is a different Arsenal team. I have a lot more hope heading into this game that Arsenal will be able to create a lot more chances against Spurs. The big question for me actually is going to be defensively for Arsenal. And the player that gives me a lot of hope for Arsenal defensively is Thomas Partey, who may not quite be at 100% just yet, but he's much more fit than he was back in December. And you'll obviously remember the second goal that Spurs scored in that game right before halftime, where Arsenal could have gone in just 1 goal down. Thomas Partey got injured, and it gave all the space on the counterattack for Spurs. And that was a much talked about play. I think Arteta handled it very poorly, trying to push Thomas back out on the field, which probably only extended his time on the sideline later because of that injury. That's something that I feel like people have not talked about enough with Arsenal this year, is that they haven't really been able to see a full run of games with Partey. We've noticed when he has played that he's one of the best players on the pitch. No matter who Arsenal is playing, no matter who else is in the Arsenal team, he has looked a standout performer. He will play a crucial role against Spurs and against that counterattack, because when he sits deep, he is the guy that can break up that play. He is the guy that stands back, and he knows when to commit a tactical foul to stop the breakaway. He can track runners. He can cut out those long passes. That presence is invaluable for Arsenal, because I'll tell you who doesn't have that, and that's Xhaka and Ceballos. Now, obviously, one of them will have to be partnered with Partey in this game, but just having a fit Partey back there to really solidify things gives me a lot more hope in this game. So how can Arsenal recreate that 4-2 win over Tottenham a couple years ago? I think that's the question that every fan has, because the last few North London derbies have felt really lame, have felt really underwhelming. The performances have obviously not been great. Spurs have gotten a lot of points, and no fan certainly has hurt that in the last 2 matchups, but it just feels like there's been a lot left to be desired in these games. And I have such fond memories of that 4-2, and I just want to see Arsenal come away with something like this, because Arsenal, they don't have a lot to play for this season. Okay, I've talked about it in videos before. The Europa League is kind of the main thing that's left. The league is gone. The FA Cup is over. The League Cup is over. This is a chance for you to really make a statement. And these are the games where I look at the players and I say, do you really understand how much this means? This is the game you will be judged on this season, because let's be honest, Arsenal are not winning the Europa League. I can get my hopes up. You can get your hopes up. That's fine. It's still not going to happen. Let's be very honest about that. This is one of those games we look back on the season, you will be judged by. And if you're going to be judged on a Spurs game, you don't want to be judged on how that first game went, because Arsenal capitulated in that game. They gave up easy goals, and they allowed Spurs to execute their game plan without really breaking too much of a sweat. That would be an embarrassing result to have to define your season. That's where it is right now, unless Arsenal can come up with something more serious in this game. But what gives me hope is I believe more in Arteta's system now than I did back in December. That was a run of terrible games for Arsenal. The team was all over the place, and as I mentioned, the personnel was completely different from how it is now. Arsenal have much more of a creative presence right now. I think the recent performances of Odegaard, even Willian, Saka, they have all been much improved from where they were in that first game against Spurs. I have hope that Arsenal will be able to at least score 1, maybe score 2, maybe score 3 against this Spurs team. Yes, Spurs have won their last 3 games, but I think before that they had won about 1 of their last 6. This is not some world-beating side, and yes, they've got some attacking talent, but Arsenal, it's time to show that you're the bigger club here. This is Arsenal. There's levels to this, okay? And it's time that Arsenal puts their foot down and shows that again, because I am sick and tired of the way that these games have gone recently. But I do have hope for this one. If I'm pushed for a prediction, I would say 2-1 Arsenal. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Let me know your predictions. Let me know your thoughts ahead of the game. I would love to hear from you on kind of where your head is at heading into Sunday. But in any case, it'll be a great game, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I will have a review out after the game tomorrow as well, so definitely stay tuned for that. Again, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on those post notifications so you don't miss a single video, because I am posting every single day. And yeah, man, that's gonna be it for this one, but enjoy the game tomorrow, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.